The United States is expected to sign a peace deal with the Taliban insurgency on Saturday that for the first time after 2 decades of grinding warfare would lay out the prospect of a final withdrawal of American troops from Afghanistan. The signing in Doha, Qatar, is seen as a vital step toward negotiating a more sweeping peace deal that could end the insurgency altogether after years of unrelenting violence that took the lives of more than 3,500 Americans and coalition troops and tens of thousands of Afghans since the US invasion in 2001. But the agreement is dependent on the Taliban's fulfillment of major commitments that have been obstacles for years, including breaking with international terrorist groups such as Al-Qaeda. And it hinges on far more difficult negotiations between the two Afghan sides to come, addressing the shape of a potential power-sharing government and a lasting ceasefire, both anathema to the Taliban in the past. The Trump administration has cast the deal as its pledge to a war-weary American public, for whom the Afghanistan war has defined a generation of loss and trauma and roughly $2 trillion in expenditures but has yielded no victory. Advertisement. If the Taliban and the government of Afghanistan live up to these commitments, we will have a powerful path forward to end the war in Afghanistan and bring our troops home, President Trump said on Friday ahead of the signing of the deal, which he dispatched Secretary of State Mike Pompeo to attend. These commitments represent an important step to a lasting peace in a new Afghanistan, free from Al-Qaeda, ISIS, and any other terrorist group that would seek to bring us harm. From the start of the talks, late in 2018, Afghan officials were troubled that they were not at the table with American and Taliban officials. They worried that Mr. Trump would abruptly withdraw troops from Afghanistan without securing any of the conditions they saw as crucial, including a reduction in violence and a Taliban promise to negotiate in good faith with the government. The best case prospect laid out by the deal expected to be signed on Saturday is alluring, ultimately, the possibility for Afghans of an end to conflict that in one form or other has stretched for 40 years. Advertisement. But behind that hope lies a web of contradictions. The United States, which struggled to help secure better rights for women and minorities and instill a democratic system and institutions in Afghanistan, is reaching a deal with an insurgency that has never renounced its desire for a government and justice system rooted in a harsh interpretation of Islam. Though the Taliban would get their primary wish granted by this agreement, the withdrawal of American troops, they have made no firm commitments to protect civil rights for people they brutally repressed when in power. Image. President Trump addressed U.S. troops at Bagram Airfield in Afghanistan in November. Credit. Aaron Schaff, The New York Times. Among the Taliban, bringing the world's premier military power to the point of withdrawal has widely been seen as a victory with few caveats. And the public messaging from Taliban officials has not been conciliatory. This is the hotel that tomorrow will turn into a historic hotel, the Taliban's multimedia chief posted on Twitter on Friday with a photograph of the Sheraton in Doha, site of the signing. From here, the defeat of the arrogance of the White House in the face of the White Turban will be announced. Advertisement.